Hello, and welcome back to day 2 of our Shadows over Innistrad set review. I am Step.
I'm Tams.
And what are we here to do today?
Review
the common and uncommon non-creature spells.
That's exciting.
Yeah. We're going to start with all of the instants, going by Wooburg order, and then go through sorceries, enchantments, artifacts, lands. Am I forgetting anything?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. And we'll get there as we go along.
Mm-hmm.
This is, of course, a limited set review. We are limited players primarily, although we'll say if we think something is noteworthy for standard or commander or whatever else we might feel like talking about. But for the most part, you're going to get limited information. We are going to do the A through F rating that is familiar from other rating systems, but we're also going to say what we think about where you should pick the card in draft, or where we would pick the card in draft, etc. Anything else we need to know before hopping in?
I don't think so. Let's go.
All right.
Start filling out this.
Our first card is Expose Evil. It is a white instant at common for 1 and a white. Tap up to 2 target creatures and investigate. And investigate, as we saw before, is put a colorless clue artifact token onto the battlefield with 2, sack this artifact, draw a card. What do you think?
I like it.
I like it too. I think it feels very blue, but that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't want too many of them. I probably wouldn't pick it too highly, but if you're in that tempo-based deck, this could probably be a pretty good card to have a few of.
Mm-hmm. I think it's really powerful, especially seeing as you're seeing something that normally is in blue and white, which is kind of cool. It's almost a cantrip.
Yeah.
Because you get to...
It's on layaway. You need to
pay the mana.
Pay the mana for it. But you also get that artifact, which, as we have seen and will see in future, can be quite useful.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I like it quite a bit.
So where would you rate it?
In the right deck, I think it has the potential of a B power, but it's not B to me in that I don't see it and go, ooh, definitely into white now.
Okay.
So I'm thinking it's probably upwards of CC plus in the deck that can utilize it properly.
I put it at a C plus. Same story. I think if you know that you're going to want to be the tempo on the tempo plan, then picking up 1, 2, or even 3 of these could be good, but not until you actually know that that's what you want. Otherwise, it's just sort of filler. All right.
Next.
Humble the Brute. 4 and a white for an uncommon instant. Destroy target creature with power 4 or greater and investigate. So white and green look like the primary investigate colors. White, green, and blue.
Yeah.
It seems like they're throwing investigate onto cards that already sort of exist. Like this is what's
Smite the
power
monsters?
4 or greater is smite the monster. Or is that toughness 4 or greater?
No, I think that's power.
Power 4 or greater? Okay.
Doesn't matter, but anyways, yeah.
It's interesting. It's something that I'm definitely going to pick up because you want something to take care of their bomb or their big beef.
Yeah.
I'd probably pick it up, I don't know, anywhere between 4th onward in the draft. As we go along, we might find that they're wheeling around the table, so you might be able to scoop one up, but we won't really know that until we know what the draft environment looks like.
Yeah, that's the thing that kind of had me going, because there's a lot of bigger creatures in green, but a lot of the colors are really big on smaller power creatures, so this almost feels sideboardish, but I still think I'd run one in my deck. So
I'd
I still
probably
think it's
run,
around a C.
Yeah, one main board, but not more than one.
No.
And I wouldn't want to pick up more than one throughout the draft.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I put it at a C.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Puncturing Light. 1 and a white. For a common, destroy target attacking or blocking creature with power 3 or less. So I think this is probably going to be better standby removal than the previous.
I gave it a C+ because there's so much.
You give it a C+?
Yeah.
I give it a C+.
Yeah.
To note, I always hesitate with destroy target attacking or blocking creature because if they're blocking, then they've already gotten their use out of the creature, so that's not great. And oftentimes, if you're ahead, your opponent's not attacking you. Now, if you're behind, this is a fine way to take care of their big thing. But I don't like being behind. Still, I'd probably pick up 1 or 2 throughout the draft.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And C+ is a good place for it. Silver Strike. 3 and a white for an uncommon. Destroy target attacking creature. You gain 3 life.
This is good if you're behind. It's terrible if you're ahead.
Yeah. Whereas Puncturing Light was good in either environment, this is only good if you're behind.
Yeah.
And while that's important, they might not be attacking with something that you want to spend 4 mana and a card to get rid of when you want to be developing your board. So I put this at D+, C-, somewhere in there.
I gave it a C-.
Yeah. It's just not...
If I don't have a lot of removal and so on, I might throw it in the deck.
Yeah.
But
it's the removal you pick up if you don't have better.
Yeah. Nice art, though.
Yeah. Strength of Arms. Here we see...
wow.
I think that's Thalia on the art.
She's something.
Single white for a common. Target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. If you control an equipment, put a 1/1 white human soldier creature token onto the battlefield.
So this kind of belongs in the Humans Matter deck.
Definitely. And if you're in that Humans Matter equipment deck, then I'd scoop one of these up. As it stands, it's not a bad combat trick. +2/+2 for a single white is not bad. It's no giant growth, but it's
okay.
What white gets. Yeah.
I gave
not
it a
much
C-.
more to
I'd
say.
probably run 1.
I'd definitely run 1, maybe 2 if I was in the equipment deck, but I would be looking to cut it if I was not.
I get you.
What'd you say you put it at?
C-.
C-? I'll put it at a C. Survive the Night. I love this art.
Me too.
2 and a white for a common. Target creature gets +1/+0 and gains indestructible until end of turn. And Investigate. I'm not sure how she's going to manage investigating while she's standing by that door.
I don't know.
+1/+0 and indestructible is
That's
interesting.
removal-ish.
Could be removal. Could just be used to win combat. You know, trump other combat tricks. I still don't really like it all that much. It's 3 mana.
Yeah, it's expensive.
And it's +1. If it was +2, I'd be well on board. But as it stands, I'd probably be looking to cut it unless I had a really good reason to have it in my deck. The Investigate, I'm not putting much stock in Investigate as affecting the value of the card at all when there's so much that makes clue tokens, or it seems like. So I have this at a D+.
I gave it a C. I tend to like combat tricks more than you do.
Okay. looking for a different combat trick than this one.
I get you.
Although I do love the art.
I only placed it at a C. I like the indestructible. That's
I'd think about sideboarding it in if I saw a reason.
yeah, fair enough.
Tenacity. 3 and a white for an uncommon. Creatures you control get +1/+1 and gain lifelink until end of turn. Untap those creatures.
Now this is a combat trick.
I love this one. I
This
love
is
things
good.
like this.
Yeah, me too.
I love that it's useful on the defensive, although 4 mana, your opponent's probably going to suspect something's up. But being able to attack and then hopefully win some combat and have your creatures back to block is good. And if your opponent sees it coming, then you can just not cast it and cast it on blocks or cast another creature.
Yeah, and you get that little upside of the lifelink, which is
which
nice.
can be a lot more than a little if you're
when it's
say,
creatures.
a tokens
Yeah,
deck.
yeah. I rather like this a lot.
I think it's well placed. I don't know how good it's going to be, but I gave it a C+.
Yeah, I would say a C+.
And those were white. It was all basically combat tricks and removal.
Which is to be expected, I suppose.
First blue spell. It's a counter spell. Broken Concentration. 1 blue for an uncommon. Counter target spell. And if you have to discard it, or if you can discard it, you can pay 3 and a blue if you don't have that double blue.
That's kind of a nice little way out of that problem that you sometimes find yourself in when you have double colored spells. That, oh my gosh, I can't get the second land.
Yeah, and the smart player always looks for double blue from their opponent to say, okay, he's holding up blue, he's probably got a counter spell.
Yeah.
But not having that second blue can put your opponent at ease. I still don't like it. I think it's expensive. I think it's a little clunky, and I think the madness is going to be tricky to trigger.
Fair enough.
So I put it at a D+. I just don't really like it.
I'm not a huge counterspell fan because I just don't play blue. But I still gave it a C. If you're heavy in blue and you're doing the counterspell kind of thing, 3 mana for counter target spell.
Period.
Seems pretty strong.
Okay.
So.
All right. Next up is Catalog.
Oh, yeah.
This is a reprint from Urza's Saga, I think, yes. Catalog is 2 and a blue for a common. Draw 2 cards, then discard a card.
I like this a lot.
This is awesome in this format. Even if you don't have a madness in hand, but there's a lot of them in your deck, you could have a lucky draw and hit one, and then be able to discard it.
I like anytime it says draw 2 cards, then discard a card.
Yeah.
So you can get rid of that land that's been bunging up your hand for 3 turns, or
the land that you just drew off your draw cards.
Yeah.
And keep your better spells in hand.
Yeah, that's good.
It's nice. That being said, it's not like it's terribly efficient. It ultimately gets you 1 card. It doesn't even get you a card. You have to cast this and you have to discard a card, and you're drawing 2. So your net cards are neutral, but it digs you further in your deck.
And has that really nice discard.
And it gives you that discard chance. Now, for 3 mana, you're probably going to want to cast this with no less than 6 mana on the available.
Yeah.
So that you can hit that madness. But at any rate, it's well placed in this format, and I gave it a straight C.
I think it is a B power in the deck that you're going to put it in.
Okay.
Again, I always have problems with B because B is, what draws you into a color. But I still think that there are cards that are that strong, but aren't necessarily going to make me go, hey, I see this. Now I'm just going to switch into blue. So I think its power is can be around a B level, but I still think it's like a C plus, CC
Okay.
plus.
So
As far as desire to draft.
C or C plus.
Yeah.
Okay. Compelling deterrence. This is another one I love the art. Is 4-armed zombie in the background. 1 and a blue for an uncommon. Return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. Then that player discards a card if you control a zombie. So it's a 2-mana bounce spell, which is fine. I play those.
Yeah.
If you control a zombie, which hopefully you do if you draft this, then they discard a card. Now that's...
You don't want them discarding a card.
You might if they only have... if they don't have any cards in hand and
True.
they're discarding whatever you bounced, then it's removal.
Yeah.
But yeah, you've got to be careful that they don't have some sort of madness that you don't want them having access to.
Well, you don't want them in a delirium deck where you're just helping them get stuff into their bin,
Well,
possibly.
Maybe. I still think this is pretty good. I'm going to run probably more than my fair share of them. I put it at a C+. I like it.
I gave it a C minus.
Okay.
Again, I'm not a blue player, so take it for what it's worth, right?
Deny Existence is next. Now this is the counterspell that I think I like. 2 and a blue. Counter target creature spell. Sorry, it's a common. Counter target creature spell. If that spell is countered this way, exile it instead of putting it in its owner's graveyard.
Okay, first, before we talk about the power of the card, I would like to discuss the flavor. I don't see you, you're not there, I'm denying that you're there. Oh look, it's gone.
Yeah.
So good.
It's
Deny existence. That's awesome.
kind of an anti-voodoo mentality.
I think that's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool.
Alright, so what about the card itself?
Well, it's counter target creature spell, so
Which I already am like...
it's not going to hit planeswalkers or instants or sorceries or enchantments or any of that stuff. But I tend to want to counter bombs anyway.
Yeah. And you get to exile it, which is okay.
Yeah. So it's a situational spell in that it's a counter spell already, and it doesn't counter everything. So I only gave it a C minus.
Yeah.
Then you too?
Yeah. I'm not a huge... I don't know.
But I think it's a better spell than Broken Concentration all around. Essence Flux is a single blue for an uncommon. Exile target creature you control, then return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control. If it's a spirit, put a +1/+1 counter on it. So this is interesting. It's meant for the spirits deck.
This works with that angel. Was it an angel that we saw that comes down when it enters the battlefield? It brings... It either puts a counter
I think
or
it was
brings
a spirit. But yeah.
Yeah. That's where this finds its strength. In stuff that has ETB effects.
Yeah. You're basically paying 1 mana and a card to flicker one of your creatures and maybe get a +1 counter.
Or
I don't like it.
Thinking of it another way, you're spending 1 mana in blue, where you may not have a lot of removal, to save your creature. And then if it's a spirit, you put a counter on it, blah, blah, blah. I'm not a huge fan. I think in a spirit deck, it's pretty good. Not in a spirit deck, meh.
I think it's a D. I put it at D. But I think that the deck that really wants it is going to be the blue-red instant and sorcery deck that I see bubbling.
Yeah, maybe.
Where do you put it?
I gave it a C.
Okay.
I think in a spirit-heavy deck, it could be a C+, especially if you get anything that brings things when they enter the battlefield, because you suddenly are flickering your
Yeah.
thing, but yeah, we'll see.
I wish it were. I wish it worked with vampires instead of spirits.
Yeah, but you like to play vampires more.
Yeah. Invasive Surgery. Another single blue for an uncommon. Counter target sorcery spell. Then, if you have Delirium, search the hand, graveyard, and library of that spell's controller for any number of cards, blah, blah, blah. That's not going to come up in Limited.
No, I gave it a D. It's just too narrow. Unless there is some bonkers sorcery spell that you just need to cast.
So you search for any number of copies and exile them.
Yeah.
At least you exile them.
Yeah.
No. I that's my first F.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's just too narrow.
It's not even instant or sorcery spell.
No.
It's just counter target sorcery.
I'm sure it has its place in another format. It seems to be more geared towards something
Some
like
other
a
format.
probably maybe modern.
I don't know. I don't know enough about modern. I would doubt it.
I don't know either. It's obviously targeting a format that would see more than one sorcery, so it's not EDH. I don't know. Maybe there is a crazy standard deck on the horizon?
I doubt it. I think it's just an F.
I think so.
Jace's Scrutiny. 1 and a blue for a common. Target creature gets -4/-0 until end of turn. That's commonly a Jace +1 ability. And Investigate.
Yep.
I don't think this is a straight up F, but I do think it's a D-.
I gave it a C-.
I don't think it does enough to be worth my time.
It takes the fangs off. You know what? Sideboard. If I pick one up, I put it in the sideboard. It takes the fangs out of something big.
Yeah.
That 7/7 ooze.
But for one turn.
I know. And that's the thing. Master Jace, Master Magician.
Yeah.
He can't figure out how to get the -4/-0 to stick.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, moving along. Just the Wind. This is the one I love the flavor for. It's 1 and a blue for a common. Return target creature to its owner's hand. Madness, blue. So if you have to discard this, you can cast it for blue, which is neat, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a bounce spell.
Yep.
And in the tempo deck, that's going to do a lot.
Yeah, I would think so.
Or enough. I think it's a C+.
Yeah, I gave it a C.
Okay. Moving on to black. Grotesque Mutation. 1 and a black for a common. Target creature gets +3/+1 and gains lifelink until end of turn. What do you think of that?
I'm not sure. I haven't turned my pages yet. Grotesque Mutation. All right. First of all, oh my gosh, the art freaks me out.
Yeah.
That hand-mouth thing. Yeah.
It's a hand with teeth.
It's icky. All right.
Well, it's supposed to be grotesque.
It certainly succeeded. I gave it a C.
You gave it a C?
Yes.
I gave it a C+. I think it's not quite, what was it, Butcher's Glee? But it's doing a good impression.
Mm-hmm.
+1 on the toughness is enough maybe to win combat. And +3 plus whatever the creature's power is in life could be a big enough swing. For 2 mana
Yeah, that's
at
not
instant speed, that could really change combat. So I like it as a C+.
Alrighty.
Merciless Resolve. 2 and a black for a common. As an additional cost to cast Merciless Resolve, sacrifice a creature or land and draw 2 cards.
I like this card. Do you know why?
Why?
I like this card because in a specific deck. This goes in the Delirium deck. Specifically because there is not a lot of stuff that allows you to sack a land. To get that 4th card type into the graveyard.
Okay.
And I think this could be really helpful in that particular deck. And card draw in black.
I don't
It's okay.
really like this card because I've seen a lot of ways to get lands into your deck or into your graveyard. And sacrificing a creature, unless you're token heavy, means that you're, again, coming up neutral on cards. If you have to sacrifice a real card for to draw a card, then you're not any better off than you were. But there are ways that this is useful, and I think one of in your deck is not bad. So I put it at a C-.
I gave it a C because I think sacking a creature or a land isn't that terrible.
All right. Next up, we've got Throttle.
Good old Throttle. Throttle's
4 and a
fine.
black. Common. Target creature gets -4/-4 until end of turn.
It's expensive.
It is, but it's it's the regular common price we pay now. Throttle was good in Cons of Tarkir, and I think it's going to be good here.
Yeah.
I think it
it's
kills
fine.
most things.
It's fine.
So I put it at a B.
I give it a C. It's
Really?
well, you know what? Given we haven't gone into red yet, but we haven't seen a ton of good removal. You're probably right. It's probably more in a C+ range.
Okay.
I'm just like 5. Wow.
I stick it at a B. I think it's going to be good. It'll kill the majority of flyers, which is what you really want to kill
Yeah,
with it.
that is true.
But yeah, that's black. Black only gets 3 instants.
Okay.
All right. Red starts with a Dance with Devils.
Oh, I love this card.
3 and a red for an uncommon. Put 2 1/1 red devil creature tokens onto the battlefield. They have, when this creature dies, it deals 1 damage to target creature or player. I think that's pretty cool.
It's especially fun on the block because you suddenly have 4/4 worth of damage and
Yeah,
toughness
4 damage.
over 2 bodies and
Yeah.
at instant speed. You're like, bam, surprise! Although 4 mana to leave up is still a bit, but I still think it's pretty good.
Yeah. They don't have haste, so it's not like you can cast them and attack with them. I'd probably still either cast it during combat or on opponent's turn or end of turn and then untap with 2 bodies that they weren't expecting.
Yeah.
It seems all right.
Yeah.
I give it a solid C.
I give him a C+.
If they were 2/2s, it would be amazing, but
If it were 2/2s, that'd be gross.
yeah. All right, C+, sure. Dissension in the ranks. This one's fun. 3 red for an uncommon. Target blocking creature fights another target blocking creature. And there are plenty of fancy hats in that picture.
Yes.
I say it's fun. I don't know how good it is. It's 5 mana, and the opponent has to have 2 blocking creatures.
Yep.
So I put this at a D+.
I give it a C-.
Okay. If it works out, it's going to work out hard.
Yeah.
Like, if you can take out their 2 biggest creatures, if you're attacking into big creatures, then you're probably not losing anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But, I don't know. It looks fun.
Yeah. And hats.
Dual Shot. This one I do like. It's single red for a common. A common. Dual Shot deals 1 damage to each of up to 2 target creatures. Now remember how we said there were so many X1s running around.
Mm-hmm.
And so many X1 tokens running around. There's humans that are 1 toughness, spirits that are 1 toughness, now devils that are 1 toughness.
Yeah.
This is going to do some work.
Yep. I think it's pretty sweet.
I put it at a B+.
B+.
A B+.
Wow.
For 1 mana at instant speed, you can take out 2 creatures. You can finish off 2 creatures. I think it's going to do a lot of work.
Now, is that power based, or are you like seeing that come around and you're like, yes, now's the time to hop into red?
Power, efficiency, and format. I think I'd take this highly. I think I'd take this 3rd to 4th.
Nice.
And then I'd pick up as many as I could.
Nice.
Where do you put it?
I gave it a C. No, I did. Yeah, I gave it a C initially because I hadn't gone back to check how many X1 bodies there are. There are so many that I think you're right. I think it's much higher than that.
Okay. How much higher? Because
B
I admit
minus.
I might be... Okay. So I have it a B+, you have it a B-.
Because it's going to depend on the deck that you're playing against. If you come up against the green whatever deck,
Big
it's
things
all
deck.
big stompies, this is not going to be so useful.
True.
But for the most part, I think against most decks, it's going to be pretty good.
I think turn 1 or 2,
It's still going to be
really
pretty good, yeah.
And then being able to cast it and something else, because it's only 1 mana, is going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
So, we'll see. Fiery Temper.
Oh, pretty.
1 red for a common. It deals 3 damage to target creature or player. But if you can discard it, you can cast it for a single red.
Yeah, baby.
So it goes from a bad lightning strike, I don't even know what 3 mana for 3 damage is, to straight up lightning bolt.
I think in this set, 3 mana for 3 damage to target creature player is still going to be pretty good.
It's probably going to be good. It's going to kill a lot of
Yeah.
things.
I give this a C+ because...
It's going to kill a lot of the legendary creatures, too.
Absolutely.
You give it a C+?
Yeah.
I give it a B.
You're hoping that madness thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's... this is one of those cards that goes into that red-blue instant sorcery madness deck that I was talking about. Geist Blast.
Geist Blast.
2 and a red for an uncommon. Has a Ghostbuster on it. Geist Blast deals 2 damage to target creature or player.
Sure.
So, not terribly efficient. But for 2 and a blue, and exiling it from your graveyard, you can copy target instant or sorcery spell you control, and choose new targets for the copy.
That's pretty sweet. This goes in that red-blue deck.
Yeah. There seemed to be, now that I think about it, there were some black creatures that exiled from your graveyard, and white creatures that exiled from your graveyard. It's almost like they're giving you flashback without bringing flashback in.
Back?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because flashback is a really good graveyard mechanic.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not exactly flashback, but it's giving that sort of flavor.
Mm-hmm.
I put this at a C- because if you're in the red-blue deck, it could do good things, but it's not terribly efficient on its own as a red spell. So if I didn't know that I was going to use the blue, it would be more like a D-.
I gave it a C, straight across the board.
Really?
That 2 damage for 3 gets rid of all of those crazy bears that enable all of those other decks.
There are a lot of 3/2s.
There's, vampires that do a thing when other vampires come in, and
That's
usually
true.
they're a bear, and
That's true.
I don't mind paying 3 mana to get rid of that,
Okay.
because chances are they're not swinging with it. So,
All right.
I think this is fine.
Okay. Inner Struggle is an uncommon for 3 and a red. Target creature deals damage to itself equal to its power. So that's going to take out those 4/3s.
That's going to take out that 7/7.
That's true. Excuse me. So for 4 mana, this will hopefully kill what you want it to kill, although it's not going to do much to a 2/5.
Nope.
I put it at a C minus myself because I think it's more situational than I'd like, but it's definitely something that I'd look at sideboarding in if I noticed that there were a lot of higher power creatures in the deck.
I gave it a C.
Okay.
Because I am generally much more concerned with the higher power to toughness ratio on a creature. If it's a 2/5, chances are, yes, it's a pain in my butt, but it's not going to kill me anytime soon.
Okay.
So I would definitely run one in a red-based deck.
All right, that's reasonable. Lightning Axe.
Oh yeah.
Is a single red for an uncommon. As an additional cost to cast Lightning Axe, discard a card or pay 5. So for 6 mana, Lightning Axe deals 5 damage to target creature. Hopefully you're not casting this for 6 mana.
Hopefully not.
Now,
this card gets rid of almost everything.
You're never casting this for 1 mana, though.
No.
Or like on turn 1, or 2, or 3. This is here specifically so you can get a Madness trigger off. I could see pitching an extra land to it to deal the 5 damage for 1 mana. You know, that could happen. Surprise your opponent. 5 damage is a lot, especially in this format, from what I've seen.
For the cost of a mana and a card.
Yeah.
I think if you have it, you're building the deck that works well with it. And yeah, what did I give it? I gave it a C+.
I give it a B.
Nice.
I give it a solid B. If you're in the Madness deck, I think B+, A-. But just on its own, I think power level is good. Rush of Adrenaline. That's a nasty farm girl? Farm wench? Single red for a common. Target creature gets +2/+1 and gains trample until end of turn. Haven't we seen this before? And this
in
basically not Titan strength. That gave you a scry, but yeah, it's looks like a standard red combat trick.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not great. It's, I think, just a C.
I gave it just a C.
All right. Uncaged Fury is our last red instant. It is 2 in a red for a common. Target creature gets +1/+1 and gains double strike until end of turn. This is the combat trick that I want in red. Double strike is a very powerful ability, and I think it's worth 3 mana to give it +2/+1 basically, and double its power. That could make for some pretty potent combat steps. It doesn't give it trample unless you pair it with Rush of Adrenaline.
Yeah.
But
wouldn't that be a hoot?
Putting it on something that has trample already would be gross. I put this at a B-.
Oh yeah? C+.
C+? All right. So, well, we'll talk about it at the end, I guess. On to green. Aim High is our first green instant. It's 1 in a green for a common. Untap target creature. It gets +2/+2 and gains reach until end of turn. So what do you think of that one?
That's a dirty little combat trick.
Yeah.
It's going to get me, I know it, with my love of flyers.
I like it a lot.
It's pretty sweet.
It's a flyer hate card that I don't mind mainboarding. Yeah. Because +2/+2 and untapping a creature
is perfectly acceptable.
Yeah.
The reach is just bonus.
The reach is just gravy. Yeah. So I think this is going to be a B- quality combat trick. I think you're going to be able to get somebody with it.
Oh, I think so. It's fairly cheap too, which is nice.
For 2 mana, yeah. So what'd you put it at?
Same.
Okay. B-? B-. Wow. Clip Wings. 1 in a green for a common. Each opponent sacrifices a creature with flying.
Sideboard.
And if you're in green, you probably don't have any creatures with flying.
But you're not an opponent anyway, so it's fine.
Oh, that's true.
So you're safe.
Um,
I put this as sideboard only.
I put this as sideboard only, but I am going to run one in my green-black commander deck. I'm going to put one in there.
That's a good idea.
Mm-hmm. Confront the unknown. Single green for a common. Investigate. Then, target creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each clue you control. So what do you think of that?
At worst, you're paying 1 to get +1/+1 at instant speed. Which is okay. If you already are in a deck that is the investigation kind of deck, that could easily be crazy.
Okay.
I still gave it... What did I give it? I turned the page. I still just gave it a C.
I give it a D.
Yeah?
I don't think +1/+1 is enough at the base. I think if you're in the deck where you're going to have a lot of clues laying around, you're going to know it. But I still don't want to hang on to those clues just to power up this card. I want to be using them for...
Oh, sure.
for
Absolutely.
things. So I don't think it's going to be worth it, and I give it a D.
All right, then.
Might Beyond Reason. 3 and a green for a common. Put 2 +1/+1 counters on target creature if you have Delirium, and as we've seen, Delirium is if there are 4 or more card types among cards in your graveyard, you put 3 counters on it instead.
He's a dude. Look at that shirt.
That dude, yeah. He looks to be doing the Jekyll and Hyde thing.
Or the Hulk thing.
Or the Hulk thing. 4 mana for 2 +1 counters. I don't know. For 3 +1 counters, sure, I guess. I like these cards. I like the look of them, but then I never end up running them. So I want to put this at a C- because I just don't see myself running it.
I gave it a C- as well.
Okay.
I want to run it because I like the thought of counters.
Yeah.
At instant speed, out of the blue. And, you know, that may be what turns me. I may try it out and see, because that's a sneaky combat trick. And they stick around.
I see myself bringing it in from the sideboard if I've found Delirium easy to get, and if I have consistently have creatures on the board that I want to make bigger. Yeah. Last one, Moonlight Hunt. 1 and a green for an uncommon. Choose target creature you don't control. Each creature you control that's a wolf or a werewolf, now that includes human werewolves, deal damage equal to its power to that creature.
So it's an F, unless you're running wolves in your deck.
Well, okay. I think this card is fantastic. I think it's going to be hard to run a heavily green deck without having wolves and or werewolves.
Yeah, that's true.
I put this at a solid B.
I could see that.
What do you think of it?
I don't know. Again, I've not played werewolves.
Okay.
So I don't know about building a deck around wolves. If you do, and they run like we hope they do, then I agree with you. It's probably around a B.
There are also wolf tokens, although I think those mostly come in at the rare level. So.
Fair enough.
But yeah, I think it's going to be good. The fact that it's not a fight, it's a one-sided fight, helps a lot. It's 2 mana, and it's what green gets as far as removal.
Yeah, but for me, unless I'm running a dedicated werewolf deck, which means most of my creatures are such, I'd rather run a fight card that isn't so specific.
Okay, fair enough. So those are the instants. We're going to go on to the sorceries.
Yay!
All right, first up is Angelic Purge. 2 and a white for a common sorcery. As an additional cost to cast Angelic Purge, sacrifice a permanent. So I see that clue tokens having an alternative use here. And for that, you get to exile target artifact, creature, or enchantment.
B+.
So that's pretty sweet. B+, you say?
Oh, yes.
All right, I have it at B, but I could be convinced.
And it's at common.
Yeah.
Oh, this makes my heart sing
3
happy
mana.
songs of happiness.
Now you have to sacrifice something. So
Yes, you
have
do.
to have something to sacrifice.
Yes, you do.
That could be a land, but the
Yep.
more you sacrifice your lands, the more you're going to end up running yourself
True,
behind.
but let me tell you something. If I am sitting at 4 lands and I'm being beaten down by their singular flyer over and over and over, I'm going to sacrifice a land
Said land.
to get rid of it, to give me some time.
Or some sort of token that you would have chump blocked with anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
Seems good. Enough said.
Chaplain's Blessing. A single white for a common. You gain 5 life. What do we think of that?
Well, more in this set, I think, than other sets.
Really? Why?
Because it's a sorcery that you can put into your graveyard for super cheap, and 5 is a quarter of your life.
I agree with you. Normally, this would be unplayable, but in this set, I'm giving it a D+.
Yeah, I getcha.
Where do you have it?
Well, I had it at a D- until I started looking at all the other stuff, but I think...
You're probably closer than I am.
Yeah. I still think that there is still a life loss, life gain, some theme going on in strange places. Yeah. I still think it sits around the D.
Maybe we'll just even it out to a D. I wouldn't want to run it. I would be looking to cut it, but if I were looking for Delirium, I would probably actively run this if I didn't have better.
Yeah, for sure. And let me tell you, in the store we play at, I know. I can think of the people. I know how many times I'm going to go, are you kidding me?
Yep.
I almost had you dead. Now you're at 7?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Ethereal Guidance. 2 and a white for a common. Creatures you control get +2/+1 until end of turn. Trumpet
D.
Blast. D?
It's a sorcery speed.
Yeah, Trumpet Blasts and things like that usually are.
Trumpet Blast was an instant speed.
It was, but it was really good.
Yeah, which is why this is a D.
I like the fact that it gives a toughness boost.
Yeah.
I don't like the fact that it's a sorcery. But I put it at a D+.
Okay, fair enough.
I would run this before I would run, what was it? Chaplain's Blessing. Not Forgotten. 1 and a white for an uncommon. Put target card from a graveyard on the top or bottom of its owner's library. Put a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying onto the battlefield.
I like this quite a bit. You know why?
Why?
Because it does a lot of things. You can mess with your opponent's delirium,
Okay.
which is fun. You can put something back into your thing. You get a spirit token. It's quite good.
Now,
for 2.
if you get something out of your graveyard, you're using your next draw step on it, so it's going to have to be something good.
No, you're not, because it's going to the bottom of your library.
If I'm grabbing something from my graveyard, it's going on the top of my library.
Oh, fair enough. I missed the top or bottom. I can't read from here.
If I grab something from my opponent's graveyard, it's probably going on the bottom of their library, and it would be so I could mess with their delirium.
Yep.
You're right.
But if I'm pulling something from my graveyard, it's because some jerk face on the other end of the battlefield has just killed my awesome bomb.
Okay.
And I'm like, no, screw you, hippie.
I'd put this at a D. I don't think a 1/1 spirit is worth 2 mana and a card, but if I'm sideboarding it against delirium, then that's something.
I gave it a C. I kind of like the versatility of the card.
Something else to think about is siding this in against a bunch of X1s and siding out one of your higher end creatures. This would act like a a crappy creature to speed up your curve. You know what I mean? So that's something. So what'd you put it at?
Let's see.
C? Yeah, I'll keep it at a D.
Alrighty.
Open the Armory. 1 and a white for an uncommon. Search your library for an aura or equipment card. Reveal it and put it into your hand. Then shuffle your library.
Okay, so I made a big, huge, look at this, great big, huge paragraph about this card. Because I'm like, ooh, EDH. That's pretty cool. And I hadn't looked at the equipment yet. So I made a mark to myself to look at the equipment because it's situational. But, you know, I think there's enough good equipment if you can get it. So this is going to be, you need to have both to make it worth running if you have that equipment. I would have the equipment first before I even consider taking this card, though.
Okay. Here's what I think. I think you're right. I think you need at least 2 good pieces of equipment or auras in your deck to run one of these. I think you need to be in the humans deck or have an aura that you really want to get, like a piece of removal. We'll see when we get to the enchantments what there are as far as that goes. But if those 2 things are satisfied, this is still a C. Like, still, you could swap it out for a 2/2 creature and be fine.
Yep.
If you don't have those, then it's more around a D. But if I have those and I really want that equipment on the field, then I'm going to pick one of these up.
Yeah, but chances are pretty good you're going to be able to grab one.
Hopefully. Yep. Yeah. And if I don't get one, then I'm really not upset about it.
No, I'm not going to cry.
Was that it? That was it for white. Wow.
All right, moving on to blue.
Moving on to blue.
I got to turn the pages quickly.
Gone Missing, a.k.a. Lonely Hat.
Hat draft.
4 and a blue for a common. Put target permanent on top of its owner's library. Then investigate.
Oh.
What do you think?
Oh. Not quite a time walk, but you get to put their land on their...
Yeah.
It's pretty
target
cool.
permanent.
Yeah.
So
you can mess with their land, yo.
You can mess with their land. Okay.
It's kind of cool.
I was thinking I'd side it in if I saw a planeswalker or saw something that I wanted to spend some time. Target permanent. So yeah, use that on a land. That's better than I thought, but I still don't really like it. It's not getting rid of the thing permanently. It is using up one of their draw steps.
Yeah.
But 5 mana is more than I want to spend.
Fair enough.
So I think D+.
C-.
Okay.
Splitting hairs.
Nagging Thoughts. 1 and a blue for a common. Look at the top 2 cards of your library. Put one of them into your hand and the other in your graveyard. And its madness cost is exactly the same as its casting cost. But if you madness it, it becomes instant speed, and you don't have to get rid of the card.
Yep.
So that's a benefit. I would only put one of these in my deck if I was in the Delirium deck, I think.
Yeah, I could see that.
I think filtering, or if I had something I was specifically digging for, I guess. I'm not going to pick this up highly. I put it at a D.
I gave it a C-.
Okay. Pieces of the Puzzle. 2 and a blue for a common. Reveal the top 5 cards of your library. Put up to 2 instants and or sorceries from among them into your hand and the rest in your graveyard. Boo.
Boo. This goes in the instant and sorcery deck that we've been talking about.
Or a heavy graveyard deck if you know you want things in your graveyard.
Yeah.
But basically, put 4 cards from your library into your graveyard for 3 mana is not what I want to do. Yeah. It could get you... It could get your best 2 removal spells in hand right now. Right?
Sure.
Sure. D minus.
Yeah, I said D.
I'm not going to run one. Pour over the pages. 3 blue for an uncommon. Draw 3 cards. Untap up to 2 lands. Then discard a card.
Yep.
I think that's sweet.
Yeah, I think it's awesome.
You have to have 5 mana. At least. Then you draw 3 cards. And you get 2 of that mana back to hopefully madness something.
Yep.
I like that.
Yep. It's pretty good.
At the worst, it's a draw 3, discard 1.
Mm-hmm. Which is not bad.
Is not bad, even for 5 mana.
Yeah.
So I put that at AC+.
Yep.
I think that's going to be better than just some random junk creature.
Yeah, I think so.
Press for answers. That is the saddest looking zombie.
He's like, but I don't understand why I'm here. Why am I here?
1 and a blue for a common. Tap target creature. It doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. Investigate.
It's sorcery speed.
It is sorcery speed. I think it does enough. It's a pre-combat sort of thing. It's a tempo sort of thing.
Yeah, I gave it a C-. I'll run one, but...
I gave it a C- too.
Yeah.
I just really like the art.
It's pretty good. The poor guy. I want to give him a hug.
Rise from the Tides. Sort of like Watery Grave.
Mm-hmm.
5 and a blue for an uncommon. Put a 2/2 black zombie onto the battlefield, tapped, for each instant and a sorcery in your graveyard. So how many instants and or sorceries are you going to have in your graveyard?
I don't know. For me, this feels kind of like a slight build around me card. You're going to run a black, blue. You've got bounce. You've got counter spells. Mm-hmm. You've got removal in black.
I was thinking more red-blue. Again, that same red-blue...
Sure, you totally could.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter that they're black zombies. But if this isn't a zombie deck, then you get the added bonus of the type being zombie.
Fair enough.
But either way, I think if you kind of build around it...
Okay.
I think it could be really powerful. Otherwise, it's 6 for a creature that's tapped, which doesn't seem very good.
For each... So... I'd have to check with the judge on this, but I don't think that this is in the graveyard when this resolves.
No, I don't think so.
So you don't even get 1 unless you've got another instant or sorcery in your graveyard.
Yeah. So if you got 3 in your graveyard, 3 2/2s for 6 is pretty good.
But then you've already cast 3 instants or sorceries.
Well,
So-
it's a 6-drop. It's for the end. It's at the top
Yeah.
end of your curve.
It's
You're trying to
definitely
flood-
a build around.
You're trying to flood the field with zombies late game.
I think this is a D,
Yeah, I get you.
but I think there's a potential for a standard deck here.
Oh, for sure. I gave it a C-.
Okay.
Maybe a little higher if you're able to... If you find yourself... Like, if this comes up in pack 3 and you're in a zombie deck or you're in a strong red-blue deck, suddenly I'm like, ooh, yeah,
Okay.
I want this.
All right.
I'd like to try it anyway.
On to black. Alms of the Bane. I like the concept here. They're charitable contributions.
Mm-hmm.
2 and a black for a common. Target opponent loses 3 life and you gain 3 life.
Sign me up.
Really? For 3 mana?
Sure. With madness cost?
With the madness of a single black.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just say it was black. Target opponent loses 3 life and you gain 3 life.
That is in red. the one red,
Mm-hmm.
3 damage to target creature or player. Now this does to your face. I grant
This
you.
doesn't hit creatures.
No, but I still think it's fine.
I don't like it.
You don't have to like it.
Okay.
I gave it a B.
I gave it a D-.
Wow. Wow.
This is our biggest gap so far. We're going to see who's right.
I like getting people's life gain down. I mean, I'm probably running this in the white-black.
I just don't think it's worth a card on its own.
No? Oh, I do.
Okay.
We'll see.
All right, we'll see. Biting Rain. 2 black for an uncommon. All creatures get -2/-2 until end of turn.
This is powerful.
Its madness is 2 and a black. So 2 black to cast it, or 2 and a black to madness it. Powerful is a word. The amount of 2 toughness or 1 toughness creatures
It's ridiculous.
is ridiculous. And then let's say you have you're running behind, and your opponent has bigger things than you. You just ram all your creatures into theirs, and then get to wipe their big creatures out with this.
Mm-hmm.
End of combat.
Yep.
Or second main phase.
Mm-hmm.
I like this a lot.
So do I.
I think it's probably still just a B minus.
I gave it
Probably
a B.
But yeah, I think if you place this well, it's going to do a lot of work. Gisa's Bidding. Another 2 black for an uncommon. Put 2 black zombie creature tokens onto the battlefield. And its madness is also 2 and a black. So if you get to madness it, you get 4 power, 4 toughness for 3 mana.
Over
That's
2
pretty
bodies. Mm-hmm.
If you just cast it, it's 4 power, 4 toughness for 4 mana.
Still okay as far as I
think this is fine.
Yeah.
B minus.
Yeah, give it a C plus.
All right. Groovy. Liliana's Indignation. I didn't know she was in this set.
She is. She's indignant too.
Okay.
She's not amused.
X and a black for an uncommon. Put the top X cards of your library into your graveyard. Target player loses 2 life for each creature card put into your graveyard this way. Okay, so let's say X is 1. That's 2 mana for a, I don't know, not quite 40% chance of dealing 2 damage to a player.
That's not why I'm running this card.
Let's say X is 2. You've got maybe a 60% chance of doing 2 damage to a player.
Sure. But that's still not why I'm running this card.
Okay, why are you running this card?
I'm running this card to get stuff. In Madness, it's going to be crazy. Because it's X.
But you're not discarding those cards.
Oh, fair enough.
It's just going from your library into your graveyard.
Fair enough.
It's going to help your delirium.
That's for sure.
But I don't like it.
No, not at all?
No, I have it at a D.
Yeah.
I just don't see running this card at all. So maybe I'm going to put it at an F.
That's generally when you're never going to run it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of a best case scenario.
I'm trying to think of an average case scenario. The best case scenario is you spend 5, get 5 creatures, and do 10 to their face.
Well, yeah, but that's never going to happen. Again, I think this is a delirium enabler.
Okay. So where do you put it?
The D minus.
D minus?
Yep.
I put it in F. Macabre Waltz.
Isn't this a reprint?
This is a reprint. It's been reprinted a few times. I think it was originally in Dissension from original Ravnica block. 1 and a black for a common. Return up to 2 target creature cards from your graveyard to your hand, then discard a card. This is well placed here.
Mm-hmm.
I had it as C minus, but I think it's better than that. It's probably a C plus.
I have it as C.
It's probably better than just some random 2/2.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Murderous Compulsion. 1 and a black for a common. Destroy target tapped creature. And you can madness it for 1 and black. So if you have a way to instant speed discard something, you can instant speed cast this.
Do you know where this goes? It just dawned on me now. This goes in a blue-black deck where you're going to be tapping your opponent's creatures.
Mm-hmm.
That would work. Because
Mm-hmm.
otherwise, they have to have tapped their creatures, so they have to have attacked you.
Attacked you or used a utility creature. This is
Yeah.
a good way to get rid of those pesky utility creatures.
But I'm just thinking this is better than I first blushed it to be.
Mm-hmm. I think it's probably just a C.
I gave it a C- originally.
Okay. It's probably better than that. Creatures do get tapped. You're going to be able to hit something with this eventually.
You hope so, anyway.
And it's 2 mana as opposed to Asphyxiate, which was 3 mana for the same thing, I think. So maybe it's a C+. I don't think it's any higher than that.
I don't think it's even that good, but we'll see how it plays out.
Pick the Brain.
Cool art.
2 and a black for an uncommon. Target opponent reveals his or her hand. You choose a non-land card from it and exile that card. If you have Delirium, you search their library, hand, and graveyard. Library, hand, and graveyard for any number of cards with the same name and exile those cards.
That's not going to be that come up as often as you'd like it to.
No.
But
This card will maybe see sideboard play in Standard, but I'm not going to run it in Draft.
no, not at all.
Not at all. Maybe once.
And
I might bring it in out of the board.
Yeah, I could see running it in a sideboard in Draft.
Mm-hmm.
If you see somebody that's picked up 3 of this particular card.
Or you know they have a bomb or a planeswalker.
Yeah.
And you want to cast it right before they would get to cast it.
Yeah.
But
it's an expensive way to get something out of somebody's hand. It's 3 mana.
Instead
of the 1 black that I'm used to playing,
Yeah.
you know?
I'm just gonna say it's a D.
Yeah.
Although if you have Delirium, you do get to see their entire deck, which
That's
is
true. C-
something.
for me then.
Okay. Shamble back. A single. The crow's dragging it by the hair.
That's awesome.
A single black for a common. Exile target card from a graveyard. Put a 2/2 black zombie onto the battlefield, and you gain 2 life. I like this. I gave it a C+.
I give it a C. I like it fine too.
You get a 2/2 for 1 mana.
And 2 life.
And you get 2 life.
Yeah.
And you can... It has to be a creature card, so the likelihood of messing with your opponent's Delirium is low,
Yep.
because they're probably going to have more than 1 creature. But still, it's a 2/2 for 1 mana.
Which is pretty sweet.
Yeah. And that's black.
Mm-hmm.
On to red. Magmatic Chasm. This is a reprint. I know it was in Tarkir block. I don't know where else it has been.
First printed in Dragons of Tarkir.
Yeah, okay. So
Cool.
it was from Tarkir. It's 1 and a red for a common. Creatures without flying can't block this turn. Yeah, it's fine. D.
I gave it a D and said that's probably going to sit in my sideboard.
Yeah. I'll bring it in maybe once. Malevolent Whispers. 3 and a red for an awesome piece of art.
He looks like the dude from Tormenting Voice.
From
Older.
From the older Tormenting Voice?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Malevolent Whispers. 3 and a red for an uncommon. Gain control of target creature until end of turn. Untap that creature. It gets +2/+0 and gains haste until end of turn. So that on its own, I probably wouldn't play. It's an act of treason or there was something that gave a bonus to the creature. I don't remember what. But the fact that it has madness for its casting cost means that if you have a way of discarding a card at instant speed, you can use this as a combat trick and steal something when your opponent's attacking. And that seems really strong.
Seems really fun.
So if I know I've got a way of doing that, I actively want one of these. Otherwise, it's just sort of a D plus. But the fact that it's a B, if I'm actively in that deck, I put this at a C.
Yeah, I
Right
give it
in
a
the
C.
Reduce to ashes. 4 and a red for a common. Reduce to ashes deals 5 damage to target creature. If that creature would die this turn, exile it instead. So remember how there were those things that gave things indestructible, and
Yeah.
there seem to be a lot of ways around indestructible. 5 damage and an exile for 5 mana seems fine.
Yeah, it's fine. I give it a C. It's fine.
Only a C?
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it a B minus.
Wow.
Maybe a C plus. Yeah, maybe a C plus. It is sorcery speed, but it'll kill what you want it to kill. Structural Distortion. 3 and a red for a common. Exile target artifact or land. Structural Distortion deals 2 damage to that permanent's controller. Now, are there any artifacts that we want to exile?
I don't know. We haven't gotten that far yet.
Are we going to want to play a card just to exile an opponent's land?
I think, again, this goes in a, we keep saying this, in a Delirium deck. It lets you exile an artifact or land. No, it exiles it, so it doesn't even matter.
I just don't really like it.
But you're exiling their land.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I look at my sheet. I somehow managed to miss it in the review, so now I'm doubly brr.
I think it's a D. Maybe an F.
You know what? I'm gonna say it's a sideboard card.
Yeah.
Because I want to see what the artifacts are.
Okay. But we're not high on it.
No, 2 damage for 4 mana. Now, if it turns out that lands, like exiling a land is going to make a huge impact to the opponent, maybe it might be worth it, but
I don't see it.
I don't know. At 4... So turn 4, you can destroy one of their lands.
Yeah.
You know what? That might be a little bit better than we think, because that might be their only white source, their only blue source, their only black source. Because you're still fairly early in the game.
Okay, I'll sideboard it in if I'm playing someone who likes to go 5 colors.
Morgan, we're looking at you.
Morgan, we're looking at you.
Be aware.
But other than that, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Tormenting Voice.
Another reprint.
Another reprint. It's probably much better here than in Cons of Tarkir. 1 and a red for a common. As an additional cost to cast it, discard a card. So if you're going to make use of that portion, you already have to have the Madness card in hand.
Yeah.
Because you have to discard before you draw. But then you get to draw 2 cards. So trading in 2 cards for 2 cards. Digging a little deeper in your deck.
In red, too.
I'm only going to put this in my deck if I'm running Madness.
Yeah, I think so.
Otherwise, I think I have better things to do with my mana.
Yep.
So I put it at a D+.
I gave it a C in the deck that wants it.
Okay.
I didn't even bother grading it otherwise because I just won't run it.
Okay. So I put it at a D+.
Alrighty.
On to green. Fork in the Road.
Ooh, look at that art.
Yeah.
That's gorgeous.
1 and a green for a common. Search your library for up to 2 basic land cards and reveal them. Put 1 in your hand and the other in your graveyard. Then shuffle your library. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
As far as general decks go, I think it's a D+. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think it's worth running unless you specifically want the Delirium.
Yeah.
But if you do, then you might want to pick one up.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It does color fix, and ramp, but I still don't know if that's
I
good
still
enough.
only want it really in my Delirium deck. There are other ways to do the other stuff.
Mm-hmm. Rabid Bite. Love this card. 1 and a green. For a common. Target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature you don't control. So this is sorcery speed, and it's still a one-sided fight. I think it's good. I think your green creatures are going to be bigger than your opponent's non-green creatures.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of higher power than toughness in this set anyway. So, yes, we hear you.
Hi, kitty.
So, I put this at a B-.
I gave it a C.
Okay.
It's good.
I like the flavor text here. You should have seen the look on both their faces.
That's good. You know, I think I underestimate green fight cards because I don't play in green a ton.
I think you do, and especially when they're not fight cards. Like, this is completely one-sided.
Yeah, this is definitely just a removal card in green.
Yeah.
That requires you to have a creature that can do
This is what green gets for removal.
Yeah.
Finally, Root Out. 2 and a green for a common. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. Investigate.
Sideboard.
Sideboard.
Yep.
Alright, on to the enchantments.
Ooh.
Starting with white. Bound by Moon Silver. 2 and a white for an uncommon enchantment. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature can't attack, block, or transform. Sacrifice another permanent, i.e. a clue. Attach Bound by Moon Silver to target creature. Activate this ability only anytime you could cast a sorcery, and only once each turn.
I love this card. I normally don't like enchantments.
I think
love
this is
card.
really good.
I did something I rarely do. I gave it a B+, and here's why. It's really good in early game to keep something at bay, you know?
Okay.
First thing comes down, you're like, get out of the way, I'm going to get in and start beating your face. And how many times have you pacified something, and then you see something better to pacify later, and you're like, oh, pacifism, regret, damn it. But this...
For 1 extra mana, it's basically an arrest instead of a pacifism. And the fact that you can move it around is fantastic.
I love it.
This is what I was talking about when I said earlier, the card that goes looking for an equipment or an aura. This is the one I'd be looking for.
Yeah.
If I had one of these, I would probably pick up one of those.
Yeah.
It's uncommon, which means that they're not going to be everywhere, but it's not like it's rare, so you could look at picking up 2. If you did, if you could, I would. You said a B+?
I gave it a B+.
I'm giving it an A.
Nice.
This is...
And then the thing is, if you run this in a Delirium deck, there is no downside at all. Because if they get rid of it, it
Then
goes into your graveyard.
It goes into your graveyard,
There you go, yeah. It's just sweet.
I'm hoping to keep it on their biggest thing.
Me too. Pretty
the whole
sweet.
way along.
Alright.
Griff's Boon. Single white for an uncommon aura. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +1/+0 and has flying. Pay 3 and a white. Return Griff's Boon from your graveyard to the battlefield attached to target creature. Activate this ability only anytime you could cast a sorcery. Okay. So they're really working on making auras suck less.
Another one that I really like, because
Yeah?
you can't get rid of it.
Well, you can.
You can, but only if you don't pay. Like, it's sitting in your graveyard. You can pay for it to get it back. And that's the thing that I've never liked about enchantments, is because you 2 for 1. Once it's gone, it's gone. But this comes back. It gives something flying and gives it a small bonus.
Okay.
Yeah, I rather like it.
Okay. So where do you rate it?
C plus.
I call it a D minus or a D plus. Excuse
Really?
me. Not a D minus. A D plus. It's not what I want to do.
I like flying, and I never underestimate the ability to pick something up and put it in the air.
I don't think this is above replacement value, but I'm also not going to be sad if I have one in my deck.
Fair enough.
So D plus is where I put it.
Fair enough.
Hope against hope.
Hope against hope.
We'll be talking about him tomorrow. 2 and a white for an uncommon aura enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 for each creature you control. As long as enchanted creature is human, it has first strike. I like it. What do you think?
Yeah, it's okay.
If it's in the token deck, it's probably going to be very valuable. I hope to have a lot of little things.
This should be in the human deck, yeah.
In the human deck, yeah.
I'm not running it otherwise.
No?
I don't think so. Maybe. But this is one of those ones that if you get 2 for 1, if your creature dies, that's it.
Yeah, that's true. I like it better than Griff's Boon, so I put it at a C minus.
Which doesn't say much, does it? I put it at a C minus as well.
Okay. Well, at least we know where we stand on this one.
Yep.
But I do like it. Nahiri's Machinations, or Machinations. 1 and a white for a field enchantment at uncommon. At the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature you control gains indestructible until end of turn.
Oh.
And for 1 and a red, Nahiri's Machinations deals 1 damage to target blocking creature.
Now its perfect home is in that hyper aggressive white-red deck.
Yes.
And it's going to be a beast in there.
Yeah. I gave this a straight up B minus.
Yeah, I gave it a B.
It sits there, it gives your biggest creature indestructible. And it also has that threat of activation, so if they block, they're going to lose their creature.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just fantastic.
Yeah.
Vessel of Ephemera. This is the first of a cycle. There's a vessel in each color. And this one is 1 and a white for a field enchantment at common. 2 and a white, pay 2 and a white, sacrifice the vessel, so it'll get into your graveyard. Put 2 1/1 white spirit creature tokens with flying onto the battlefield. So what do we think of that?
It's okay. It's putting your spirits on layaway. It's a little expensive for just the cost of the spirit tokens. But again, if you're running it in Delirium, it's pretty sweet because you're getting your 2 spirits, and then you're hopefully that's the 4th thing you need to activate it.
I put this at a D+.
I get it.
I agree with everything that you said. It's just a little more expensive than I like.
I still gave it a C minus.
All right.
So
we're not far off.
no, it's okay though.
It's not the best of the vessels.
No.
On to blue. Fleeting Memories. 2 and a blue for an uncommon. When Fleeting Memories enters the battlefield, investigate. Whenever you sacrifice a clue, target player puts the top 3 cards of his or her library into his or her graveyard. So, this is the mill plan.
And the only way I am running this card is if I am on that mill plan, which is a very, very narrow.
You're going to want one of the rares that...
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Otherwise, you're just potentially helping. And this isn't one that you can't even sack it, so you can't even get it to your graveyard. So,
Nope, I called this an F.
Yep.
All right. Ghostly Wings. Is this a reprint? I think this is a reprint too. Yep, from Torment. 1 and a blue for an aura at common. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and has flying. Discard a card. Return enchanted creature to its owner's hand. So that's something. It gives you a way to discard a card if you want the madness. It has the effect of being able to save that creature.
Yeah, and dropping your enchantment into the graveyard without hurting your creature.
Right. So I like this better than Griff Spoon. I still don't like it that much. I have it at a D+.
I give it a C-.
Okay. Ongoing investigation. 1 and a blue for an enchantment at uncommon. Whenever one or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, investigate. So you get 1 clue anytime any number of your creatures deals damage to a player. A single player. So if you're in multiplayer Commander, you could possibly get more than 1 clue at a time. For 1 and a green, and exile a creature card from your graveyard, investigate, and you gain 2 life. It's neat. It's filler. I put it at a D+.
I gave it a B.
Really? Explain yourself.
I can only speak from how I play blue, because
Okay.
I'm not a control player per se.
Okay.
If I'm in blue because I'm running flyers generally. Flyers equal damage equals card draw.
Okay.
I rather like this. I think in the deck that wants it, it can be really, really good. I haven't looked at how it's going to synergize with green. If you're running it with green, chances are your creatures are bashing in for damage as well.
Well, blue-green seems to be the Delirium deck, so I don't really want to exile creatures from my graveyard.
Really? You see that as the Delirium deck?
Yeah, that's how I see it.
Oh. That's not how I was picturing it. But it seems to be available in pretty much everything, so... yeah, I'm sure I'm really overestimating this card. It just seems like... It seems really powerful if you've got if you're able to get in a lot for damage.
So you're looking at evasion and tempo.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
In
I
a
guess
regular... I can't talk to a control deck. I guess it's not as good because you're not
You're not trying to
consistently
damage,
getting into for damage.
Sleep paralysis. 3 and a blue for an aura at common. When sleep paralysis enters the battlefield, tap enchanted creature. Enchanted creature doesn't untap during its controller's untap step. It's expensive.
That's what I noted.
If there's another way to untap the creature, this doesn't keep it tapped, although for the most part it will. For 4 mana, I don't like it. For 3 mana, I run it. For 2 mana, it's excellent. So I have it at a D+.
I give it a C-.
Okay.
It's probably acceptable if you're not getting a lot of removal.
Okay.
But, meh.
I just think it's too expensive.
I don't want to run it, really.
Trail of Evidence. 2 and a blue for an enchantment at uncommon. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, investigate.
Well, we know where that belongs.
Yeah. I like the art.
And I think it's okay in that really heavy instant and sorcery deck that we've been chit-chatting about. Otherwise,
Guess? I don't know. Well, maybe. I don't really like it. I have it at just a D.
I give it a C-.
Okay. Vessel of Paramnesia. 1 and a blue for a common enchantment. You can pay a blue and sacrifice it. Target player puts the top 3 cards of his or her library into his or her graveyard, and you draw a card.
I like this one.
Yeah?
It's a Delirium enabler. It allows you to sack This,
Mm-hmm.
it's card draw.
Okay. I don't think just giving you Delirium is enough to warrant a card, so I don't really like it. I have this as a D-. I don't think I'm ever going to play it.
Oh, I gave it a C.
Okay. On to black.
And you shall see when I smash you with my Uber Delirium deck.
We'll see. Behind the scenes, 2 and a black for an enchantment at uncommon. Creatures you control have Skulk. You can pay 4 and a white. Creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. What do you think?
It's interesting. I don't know how it's going to work. Like,
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't know.
I gave it a C-. I want to try it out and see.
All right.
What I found more interesting was in the comment section, somebody mentioned that if you are running black in it, this could be really cool in the Assault Formation deck.
Okay. That is my standard deck, so I might have to switch gears.
It's kind of cool, right?
But, All right. Constructed applications aside, I think in draft, this is going to just be a D. D+. Skulk is interesting, and I'm not sure how it's going to work yet. It puts you on an even playing field, so to speak. But I don't think it's worth a card. Call the Bloodline. Olivia looking very fancy there in her dress. 1 and a black for an enchantment at uncommon. Pay 1, discard a card, put a 1/1 black vampire knight creature token with lifelink onto the battlefield. Activate this ability only once each turn. So this is the best madness enabler that we've seen. It's consistent. You can do it every turn. It gives you a bonus for in the form of a creature.
So black-red vampire madness deck.
Yeah.
Seems to be, could be a really strong thing.
Those vampires count as vampires for all those things that put counters on vampires. I like it.
Yeah, I gave it a B in the deck that it belongs in.
I give it a B-, but I agree. I think it's just going to be solid in that deck. Creeping Dread. This art is reminiscent of an original Innistrad card. I think was white with a blue flashback ability, but I don't remember what it was called. 3 and a black for an enchantment at uncommon. At the beginning of your upkeep, each player discards a card. Each opponent who discarded a card that shares a card type with the card you discarded loses 3 life.
Seems kind of lottery-esque.
It does. If you're in the Madness deck, then maybe this is worthwhile. Otherwise, I wouldn't risk it.
You know where this belongs? Oh my gosh. In the black EDH deck we have, that's completely pulling from the graveyard. You want everything into your graveyard?
Yeah, I'll throw one of those in there.
That will be... And there could be... is there enough graveyard recursion in this set? Or in previous standard sets to build a standard deck?
Maybe, but at 4 mana, I think it's a little slow for that.
Possibly.
So, if you're in the Madness deck, you might want to pick one of these up, but if not, it's not worthwhile. So yeah. I just have it at a D+.
Yeah, I gave it a D.
Okay. Dead Weight. Ooh. This is a reprint for sure. For a single black, enchanted creature gets -2/-2. So hopefully you're killing something with this.
Yeah.
It's common. Hopefully you're killing something with this, but if you're not, at least you should be bringing it down to size where something else can kill it. This is fairly good removal. I have it at a B.
I'll give it a C+. Again, Bears there are some really good Bears Matters cards, and there's a lot of low toughness creatures, so I think it's pretty good.
There was a comment in the Gatherer comments for this card, the discussion, saying this guy in the picture, with no magic or armor or anything else, he's still alive after having the dead weight attached, which means that on his own, he can't be killed by anything less than an stampeding elephant. He deserves a card of his own.
That's cute. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Sinister Concoction. Single black for an uncommon enchantment. Pay a black, pay 1 life, put the top card of your library into your graveyard, discard a card, sacrifice Sinister Concoction, destroy target creature. So that's a lot of stuff. But a lot of it should just be upside.
Yep.
Put the top card of your library into your graveyard, should be fine. Discard a card if you do it right, should be fine. Sacrifice Sinister Concoction, gets an enchantment into your graveyard. Destroy any creature.
Yeah. Just destroy a creature.
I have this at... I have it at an A-, but I think I'm going to move it down to a B+.
Yeah, I give it a B.
It's a little hinky, but it's 2 mana to destroy any creature.
Yeah.
So that's seriously worthwhile.
Yep.
Vessel of Malignity. Malignity, not malignancy? Well, Vessel of Malignity. 1 and a black for an enchantment at common. Pay 1 and a black and sacrifice it. Target opponent exiles 2 cards from his or her hand. Activate this ability only when you would cast a sorcery. So this is a way around fueling their delirium or madness, because you're exiling 2 cards from their hand.
That's kind of sweet.
I like this okay. I don't tend to like these cards personally, so I have it at a D+.
I gave it a C.
But I know that people are going to get me with it.
Oh, yeah.
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 All right, on to red. Senseless Rage! 1 and a red for a common aura. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2, and you can madness it for the same cost, so that could make it instant speed if you've got a way of doing it.
So it can be a combat trick.
This goes in the black-red vampire deck.
Yep.
Or the white-red human deck.
Yeah, I give it a C. I think it's pretty strong.
I guess it could go in the werewolf deck, too. Yeah, it's not bad. I give it a C.
Yep.
Spiteful Motives. 3 and a red for an aura at uncommon. With flash, enchanted creature gets +3/+0 and has first strike. Hey there.
That's pretty sweet.
I like that. I see it more being used on the attack than on the block, because it's not going to look as suspicious leaving up 4 mana while you're swinging. But I think it's definitely worthwhile.
For sure.
I had it at a C-. Why did I have it at a C-?
I don't
think
know.
it's better than that.
I think it's way better than that.
I think it's a C+.
I agree.
I'm going to give it a C+.
Maybe just forgot the other little part of the...
Maybe.
Ooh.
Stensia Masquerade. 2 and a red for an enchantment at uncommon. Attacking creatures you control have first strike. Whenever a vampire you control deals combat damage to a player, put a +1/+1 counter on it. And if you can do it, you can madness this thing at instant speed.
That's ridiculous.
I want to madness this thing.
Yeah. You want to build
combat.
around this card.
I want to, build around this card, give all my things first strike.
Cackle maniacally as your vampires swoop in for the kill.
Maniacally.
It's awesome.
That being said, I think that's a little tricky. I think it's going to be tricky to pull off. I don't think it's going to be as easy as I'd like. So I'm going to put this at a C-.
I gave it a C plus if you're running vampires.
Okay.
Because still the attacking creatures you control have plus or have first strike. It's totally strong.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
In the vampire deck, I just prefer to cast a creature on turn 3.
Fair enough.
Vessel of Volatility. I think this is the best of the vessels. 1 in a red for an enchantment at common. Pay 1 in a red and sacrifice it. Add red, 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 red to your mana pool. So, if you have it in your opening hand, on turn 3, you can generate 5 mana. You can drop a dragon on turn 3.
But you still have to pay 1 in a red to sack it to get that 4 mana.
Right. So you play it on turn 2, you sack it on turn 3, and drop a 5-drop. Best case.
Gotcha.
I like it. I think if you know what you're doing, this can be used to absolutely take over a game. That being said, it's not a great top deck.
Not really.
So I'm going to put it at a C+.
What did I give it? I think I gave it a C.
Okay. On to green.
Green.
We're almost there. Crawling Sensation. 2 and a green for an enchantment at uncommon. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may put the top 2 cards of your library into your graveyard. Whenever 1 or more land cards are put into your graveyard from anywhere for the first time each turn, put a 1/1 green insect creature token onto the battlefield.
I like this because of the May.
I don't like this because I have to cast it.
Fair enough.
I gave this an F.
Really? I
Yeah.
gave it a C.
Really?
Yeah.
What are you going to use it for?
You're putting things into your graveyard. So any of the archetypes that want stuff in your graveyard.
Okay. But that doesn't seem very difficult. So I don't see needing to use something like this.
You're getting tokens if you get your land in the bin.
Yeah.
So instead of just dropping something into your graveyard and you get nothing back from it other than delirium,
Okay.
and you don't have to do it.
Well,
It has the May.
you can play it and tell me how it works out for you.
Oh, I probably won't play it because I don't play green that often.
You don't play blue, you don't play green.
What does that tell you I play?
Yeah.
Mardu.
It's not white usually either.
I love white.
Okay.
I love flyers.
Okay.
I do like black and red though.
Equestrian Skill.
Love the art.
3 and a green for an enchantment aura at common. Enchanted creature gets +3/+3. As long as enchanted creature is human, it has trample.
Sweet. It gives you a horse.
It gives you a horse.
It's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. It doesn't have flash or anything, so it's not really on my radar. It's sort of a D+.
I gave it a C.
Okay. Howl Pack Resurgence. 2 and a green for an uncommon enchantment with flash. Each creature you control that's a wolf or a werewolf gets +1/+1 and has trample. This one I do like. This one, if I know I'm going into the werewolf deck, or even just a green deck that's heavy with wolves, I think this is strong. I'm going to put it at B-.
I gave it a C plus if you have wolves to make it work. Otherwise, it's just an F.
Okay. Ulvenwald Mysteries. 2 and a green for an uncommon enchantment. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, investigate. Whenever you sacrifice a clue, put a 1/1 white human soldier onto the battlefield. So what do we think of that?
In the white-green human deck, it seems okay.
Yep. I have it at okay, which means it's a C.
A C. Yep.
Vessel of Nascency. Single green for a common enchantment. Pay 1 and a green and sacrifice it. Reveal the top 4 cards of your library. You may put an artifact, creature, enchantment, land, or planeswalker from among them into your hand, and put the rest into your graveyard. Seems okay. C minus. I think I'd prefer a creature.
I gave it a C.
All right. Last one. Weirding Wood. 2 and a green for an enchantment aura. At uncommon, enchant land. When Weirding Wood enters the battlefield, investigate. Enchanted land has add 2 mana of any 1 color to your mana pool. So it ramps, it fixes. I like it. I put this at a B minus.
I gave it a C+.
I think the deck that wants it is really going to want it. So those are the enchantments. What's next? Artifacts?
Artifact.
All right, artifacts. Start with Explosive Apparatus. 1 for a common artifact. Pay 3 and tap and sack it. Explosive Apparatus deals 2 damage to target creature or player. I'm going to pick one of these up if I'm in the Delirium deck.
Yep, absolutely. That's exactly what I said. And somebody's mother should have taught him, you don't do things like that with your teeth.
What, pull a grenade pin?
Yes.
Why not?
Don't use you're going to hurt your teeth.
But it's all cool in World War One, yeah.
Sure, silly man.
Or World War II, I guess. In World War One, they had those twisty things.
Yeah. I gave it a C in Delirium, otherwise I'm not running it.
All right. I'm on the wrong page. I gave it a C minus, just generally. I think it's fine, but not great.
Fair enough.
Haunted Cloak. Haunted Cloak is a 3-drop equipment at uncommon. Equipped creature has vigilance, trample, and haste, and it equips for 1.
That's pretty sweet.
I think so. You can give something haste and still leave it back as a blocker for 1 mana. That seems real good. I put it at a B.
I gave it a B. I was shocked that I'm giving an equipment a B.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
That's probably a little high, but in the deck that wants equipment, I think this is going to work.
The trample's nice too.
The trample's not going to matter as much in the deck that really wants equipment, but maybe. Who knows? Magnifying Glass. 3 mana for an uncommon artifact. Tap to add colorless to your mana pool, or tap 4 and tap it to investigate. So it ramps, and you can use it late game to draw cards. I don't really like it. It probably has a place.
Yeah.
I gave it a D.
I gave it a D.
Nice. Murderer's Axe.
Ooh, I like the art.
4 for an artifact equipment at uncommon. Equipped creature gets +2/+2. Now, to equip it, you discard a card. That's weird.
It's going in the red-black madness aggressive. Oh, it's 4. No.
I guess.
4 to cast. It's not that.
No.
Although you can cast and equip on turn 4.
That is true. And you can equip your best creature at that point.
And you're bashing in for 2 more with it. Yeah, it's not bad.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm going to put it at a C minus.
I didn't even grade it. I put a question mark because I just don't know.
It's weird.
It is.
It might be better than that, but it might also be worse than that.
I think I'm going to draft it and try it and see what happens.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Neglected Heirloom. 1 mana for an uncommon equipment. Equipped creature gets +1/+1. When equipped creature transforms, transform Neglected Heirloom. And it equips for 1. So it's 1 to cast, 1 to equip, gets +1/+1. What do we think of that?
It seems okay.
Seems not great, but...
I probably wouldn't normally run it, but...
Okay, so if...
You're putting it on a werewolf, or a...
Vampire that transforms, or whatever.
So what happens if you do?
Or one of those humans that transforms. That's probably where I'd pick one up. It becomes Ashmouth Blade. Equipped creature gets +3/+3 and has first strike. And you equip for 3 now. Now, if it's still only equipped for 1, I would like this card. Because you have to go through the trouble of putting it in your deck, casting it, equipping it on a creature that can transform, and transforming that creature.
Then paying for it again.
Then, well, if that creature dies, then you have to pay 3
to
equip it.
Yeah.
So, I just don't really like it. I think that it could have equipped for 2 or 1 and still been balanced.
What'd you give it?
A D+.
I give it a C-.
Okay.
Again, it's one of those things that I'm kind of down on in my head, but I also really, really want to try it.
Yeah.
Because I can see the potential craziness of it. But, yeah.
Shard of Broken Glass is a weird one. What happened to Blazing Torch and what was the other one? Rusty Pitchfork or something like that? Butcher's Cleaver? Alright, now we've got a Shard of Broken Glass. 1 to cast, 1 to equip, common equipment. Equipped creature gets +1/+0, and whenever equipped creature attacks, you may put the top 2 cards of your library into your graveyard. Boo.
I booed it too. Actually, I just put only in Delirium deck.
Even then, I'm not happy about it. I'm just have it as a straight D.
Fair enough.
Minus.
Minus.
Skeleton Key. 1 to cast, 2 to equip. Uncommon. Equipped creature has Skulk. I like that. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card.
I rather like that.
This one I like too. I think I have this one at a B.
Give it a C+.
Okay. I like that one. That's the card I want to fuel my delirium and my madness and all that other stuff.
The May. I like the May.
Yep.
And gives you a little something extra. Yeah.
True Faith Sensor is our last artifact. It is also an equipment. 2 to cast, 2 to equip. Equipped creature, common. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 and has vigilance. I like vigilance. As long as equipped creature is a human, it gets an additional +1/+0. So if it's a human, it gets +2/+1 and vigilance. If it's not a human, it's just +1/+1 and vigilance. I'm not going to run it.
No, I gave it a D. If you're running a human deck, I could see maybe trying it out.
This is not the equipment I want.
You are not the equipment
I'm going to give it an F. D-, because I might want equipment. But
not this one.
Not this one. All right. Last thing we have is a couple of lands. All right. So the first land is Warped Landscape, which, hint, hint, looks like it should have been something out of the previous block. But it's a common land which taps to add colorless to your mana pool, or you can tap 2, tap it, and sacrifice it to search your library for a basic land card and put it onto the battlefield tapped. Then shuffle your library. So what do you think of that?
It's okay.
Yeah?
It's alright.
Yeah, I really like it. With no reason to have specifically colorless mana in this set, and not looking like it's going to be 3-color decks. I mean, I think maybe there'll be 2-color decks with a splash in this set, in which case I might pick one up.
I think if you have this in your deck, it's because you need that particular thing. It's not going to have anything to do with the colorless, so...
Yeah. So, I don't know. I give it probably a D+.
I didn't even rate it, because it's one of those things where if I need a splash, I'll grab one. If I don't, I'm never going to run it.
If I need a splash, I'm hoping to be in green and grab one of the better...
Yeah, that would be nice, too. But you may be in black-red and want a white splash, or white-black and want a red splash, or whatever.
Yeah, maybe.
But, meh. It's not exciting.
And the final 5 cards, I'm going to do them all at once, are not quite
Fitting
on the screen.
That's
But
okay.
Forsaken Sanctuary, Foul Orchard, Woodland Stream, Highland Lake, and Stone Quarry are the uncommon dual lands. They tap for enemy paired colors. And they enter the battlefield tapped with no bonus or other drawback. So I think they're just fine.
They're fine. But the art on every single one of them
Is gorgeous. Yes.
Like, I would put any of those on a playmat.
If I knew I was in 2 colors or 2 colors with a splash, this is probably what I'd be looking for.
Yeah.
I still think they're a D+, C- kind of thing. They're just, they're fine.
They're what we're getting.
If you need one, you'll pick one up. If you don't, then you won't worry about it.
Yep.
But, yeah. So that is it for the commons and uncommons. What do you think of the set so far?
I'm excited.
Yeah?
It's interesting. It's different.
I love the flavor of a lot of it, especially some of the rares, which we'll be looking at tomorrow. But in the meantime, if you enjoyed this, please like this video. Please share it. We're trying to get the word out there that we have better set reviews than anyone else. Sort of.
Different set reviews.
Different set reviews than anyone else. And we would really appreciate the news getting out. If you did like it, like the video, share it. If you want to find us on the web, you can find us at www.cardadvantagemtg.blogspot.ca. You can also find us on social media.
Yes, you can. Facebook at Card Advantage MTG.
Or on Twitter at MTG_CA. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.
See you tomorrow.